This might be one of my favorite hunter builds in the Edge of Fate. You're probably saying like, aren't you a hunter slash warlock hater? Don't you main Titan 24/7? Yeah, you are right, but as I was making this build, it's kind of growing on me. Here's why. You're going to make this exotic primary hand cannon extremely powerful when it comes to endgame content. And yes, the gameplay that you are seeing, I was running every single activity minus 50 power. All right, so without wasting your guys' time, let's head to this prismatic high damage build. All right, the exotic armor piece you're going to want to use for this build is called the Mask of Baccharis. Here's why. While you have a stasis super equipped, your dodge becomes a longer range, faster moving shift that partially cloaks you during use. After shifting, your stasis and arc weapons gain a stack of bonus damage for a short time. Also too, while you get final blows as the armor perk is activated, it will refund class ability energy. So first, let's talk about how much class ability energy you're going to be receiving. The first thing you're going to want to pay attention to is your class stat. Once you're at 70 stat, and while you have that armor perk activated, all you would need is 2 kills. So the recommended minimum is 70 stat. If you were to go below 70 stat, it would roughly take you between 3 to 4 kills to give you your class ability back. All right, just to show you guys a demonstration when it comes to how much class ability you're going to be getting once you're below 70 stat for your class stat. So as what you're going to see here, I'm going to remove my class stat from my boots and for my chest. So now I have 64. So now I'm going to activate my class ability and pay attention to my class ability. 1 kill there, 2 kills there, and now I need a 3rd kill to grant me my full dodge back, which kind of sucks. So now I'm going to put back those armor mods from my armor piece. So now I have 74. So now I'm going to activate my dodge, and now I'm just going to need 2 kills. 1 kill there and another kill there. Boom, got my dodge back. But if you are struggling on survivability, I do recommend going beyond the 100 threshold, and whenever you activate your class ability, it will grant you an overshield. But if you are one of those gamers that just wants to prioritize in the 70 stat, your second priority when it comes to maximizing this stat is called weapons. So the higher stat you have, the more damage you're going to be inflicting with your weapons. And there's also going to be other benefits as well, but the main thing is dealing more damage. So again, remember, for the Mask of Baccharis, it's going to increase your arc and stasis damage. So the exotic weapon we're using for this build that came out in the Edge of Fate, called Graviton Spike. This has arc and stasis imbued inside of this hand cannon, which perfectly ties to this exotic helmet. But let me show you what it does. So at first, when you load into an activity, it's first going to start with arc, and then you can hold your reload button to transition to a stasis mode. And as you get final blows between any of the 2 elements or precision hits, it would overcharge the opposing mode to enable an additional effect. So you're going to need 3 precision hits if you're dealing with the boss, or just 3 kills. So I'm going to be doing 1, 2, 3. As you see stasis overcharge, I'm going to hold my reload button, and now this is overcharge, so I'm going to get a precision hit. It's going to spawn in those stasis crystals, and it's just going to keep spawning them until the overcharge runs out. And now I got arc overcharge, swap to my arc, and then I'm going to spawn in bolt charges. It's basically an infinite loop cycle. 3 precision hits, swap, 3 precision hits, swap, or kills. So basically, when arc is overcharged, it will call down lightning strike. When stasis is overcharged, it will bring 2 stasis crystals, one on the left, one on the right. And also too, when it comes to the catalyst, I do recommend going for this one called Temporal Alignment. Overcharging both arc and stasis modes grants a period of increased damage. So this will give you a 20% increase in damage. All right, now let's head to the Prismatic Hunter subclass. For your super, you're gonna have to go for Silence and Squall. If you don't have the super, this build is not gonna work. When it comes to your abilities, be sure to go for Marksman Dodge, because it would automatically reload your weapons. It would basically give you an infinite amount of ammo as long as you're getting kills to refill up your dodge. When it comes to your melee ability, you can choose any melee you like, but I recommend going for Threaded Spike when it comes to endgame content, because if enemies were to get hit by your Threaded Spike, they will get severed, aka they'll deal 40% less damage to you. Next is your grenade. In this build, I was using grapple for more movement, but you don't really have to use it. If you really care about ad clearing even further, you can choose any other grenade. What I recommend is Arc Bolt Grenade. For the aspects, the first one you're going to want to put is Threaded Spike. This is extremely good for survivability because whenever you activate your class ability, it would spawn in a strand decoy and enemies were to get distracted to them, so they're going to pay attention to that strand decoy instead of you. Or if you or the enemy were to destroy the strand decoy, or if the enemy were to approach it, the decoy will burst, dealing damage and also releasing threadlings. So remember how we're going to be getting our class ability extremely fast. So I'm going to dodge. There's the big guy, get 2 kills, dodge. There's another guy, get 2 kills, dodge. There's another guy, get 2 kills, dodge. There's another guy. You guys get the point. Basically, a boatload of these goobers. The next aspect I went with is Gunpowder Gamble. This is also good for ad clear, and they also buffed it even further, so now you're not going to be dying a lot with this thing. So either defeating targets with abilities or getting elemental debuff damage or solar final weapon blows, it will charge up this solar explosive. While this is ready, it will override your grenade. Be sure to keep that one in mind. Press your grenade button and you're going to yeet it in front of you. Use your weapons to destroy it and it will cause an ignition. The cooldown for this aspect is 6 seconds. So the amount of charges you're going to need to activate for Gunpowder Gamble is 6 charges. So I'm just going to need to get 6 kills, 1 charge there, another charge there. So I'm just going to get all 6 kills. Once it's ready, as you see my grenade, it is now orange. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to yeet it in front of you and you can either let it go or you can use your weapon to shoot it to make it explode to cause that ignition. All right, buckle up. There's going to be 6 fragments in total. That is a lot and bear with me. The first fragment you're going to want to go for is Facet of Mending. I'm tying it to either your grenade or Gunpowder Gamble. So grenade final blows cure you, while your Transcendent grenade final blows will increase the strength of the effect. The second fragment, go for Facet of Purpose. I'm tying this to the seasonal artifacts because of granting you frost armor. So while you pick up an orb of power, it will grant you frost armor because it ties to your super, and the super that we are using is Silence and Squall, which is stasis. The third fragment you're going to want to go for is Facet of Protection for more survivability. While you're surrounded, it will give you a damage resist. The fourth fragment I went with is Facet of Ruin, tying it to our exotic weapon and also Gunpowder Gamble. This will increase the size and damage of the burst whenever you shatter a stasis crystal or frozen target, and it would also increase the area of effect for solar ignitions. The fifth fragment I went with is Facet of Dawn. Powered melee hits against targets makes you radiant. Powered melee final blows makes you and your nearby allies radiant. But in this case, it's mainly powered melee hits. And the last fragment I went with is Facet of Solitude. Landing rapid precision hits will emit a severing blast on the target, while Transcendent, the severing blast is bigger. So when it comes to you using the exotic hand cannon, all it will take is 4 rapid precision hits to sever that target. It can be on any of the modes. I also forgot to let you guys know, when it comes to using a power weapon for this build, it can either be an arc weapon or a stasis weapon, whatever floats your boat. Remember how I told you why I put Facet of Purpose for my fragments? Here's why. There are 2 artifacts that tie to this. The first one is Frost Renewal. While you have Frost Armor, taking critical damage releases a burst that freezes nearby targets and grants Frost Armor to you and nearby allies. That artifact is extremely good for survivability. So what I'm going to be doing is I got an Orb of Power to grant me Frost Armor. I'm going to make the enemies try to kill me. I'm going to collect the Frost Armor, and once they make me critically low, hopefully they can do it within the time frame, boom, everything around me is frozen. This is a big area of effect. That is extremely bonkers. Look at all that. The next artifact is Frigid Glare. While Frost Armor is active, Stasis Precision Hits final blows cause Cabanas to release a freezing burst. So again, I'm going to get 2 kills to get me that Frost Armor. I'm going to get that Precision Final Blow with my Stasis mode. And as what you see there, it created a big explosion. So just to demonstrate it again, I'm going to get that Precision Final Blow, and everything around it got frozen as what you saw there. The last artifact I do want to mention to increase your damage for your exotic hand cannon even further is Elemental Override. Picking up an elemental pickup or tangle grants increased damage to weapons of the same element. And in order for us to get an elemental pickup, we're going to need this other artifact called Elemental Coalescence. Defeating targets has a chance to create an elemental pickup matching your equipped super. So the super is Stasis, so we're going to be getting Stasis Shards, and whenever you pick it up, it will grant you melee energy and also a little bit of health. And also too, if you guys would like to copy all of the artifacts, feel free to do so right now. Now let's talk about the armor mods. Here's the full layout for my armor mods right here. Feel free to copy it or take a picture if you like. But what I did with these armor mods is that I really wanted to tie it to my hand cannon. So I have Arc and Stasis Siphon, and for my boots, I do have Arc and Stasis Surge. So no matter what mode you are in, you're going to be getting increase in damage. If you guys would like to try out the build for yourself, the Mobilytics link will be in the description.